Well, we're in late October in our 6th season of the Leipzig Loko with Lokomotive Leipzig and find ourselves undefeated so far this season and these days on top of the two Bundesliga. That won't change no matter the result in our second game of today's episode against 6th place Heidenheim. But before then, a 99.9% chance I think of losing our undefeated record. We travel away in the DFB Pokal to take on Bayern Munich. We're in danger. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 55 of the Leipzig Loko with Lokomotive Leipzig here on Sean Does FM. I hope you are doing well and coming up today. Our biggest opposition so far in the save in the second round of the DFB Pokal. We travel to take on Bayern Munich and probably get our first defeat of the season. Off the back of that, we look to keep our gap on top of the two Bundesliga as we take on Heidenheim at home. So if you're looking forward to those two games coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but we've played a few games off the back of yesterday's episode where we did take on both Bochum and Arminia Bielefeld, who at that stage were above us on the league table. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Picked up wins in both of those games, which did see us jump to second on the table at the end of yesterday's episode. And since then, we've played 3 more games in the two Bundesliga and picked up 3 more wins in all of them by very impressive margins as well, albeit against teams who have been struggling a little bit so far this season. First up, we hosted Magdeburg, these guys having been promoted from the Free Liga come last season, and we did pick up a 5-2 win. Quite a busy first half. In this one, it was 4-2 at halftime, but it was never really a game that felt in danger with our goal-scoring threats, and Thibaut Clichet made sure it was a 3-goal margin. In injury time, good to see him come off the bench and pick up a goal in that one. And Matthias Haasmann, a little bit of an average game there from our step-in goalkeeper, but thankfully we were still able to pick up a win. Then off the back of that, we had a bit of an international break. Thankfully, off the back of that, we did get Titus Krapikas returning in goal, and we were a little bit more solid at the back away from home at Paderborn, this time picking up a 4-1 win. Took us a little while to get going in this game. After going 1-0 down early, we grabbed a goal just before half-time through Osman Tilgan. Tom Gale, a very good impact in the second half, scoring 2 goals with his head. And then Albin Krasnicki, yet again in injury time, making sure we pick up another win by 3 goals. And then yet again away from home, this one probably our best performance since you were last here. We pick up a 3-0 win, keep a clean sheet against Karlsruhe, and that was thanks to a goal to Krasnicki as well as a double to Daniel Cueto. So those 3 wins and a little bit of a slip up by the likes of both Arminia Bielefeld as well as Bochum. These days, those two not even inside the top 3. It does mean we are on top of the table these days still. One of 2 undefeated teams in the league, but we're picking up a lot more wins than Augsburg are. We are 5 points clear on top of the table of Fortuna Düsseldorf, and it's a further 3 points back to Augsburg's at the moment in a very nice spot. And hopefully this will be the season that we do go up to the Bundesliga. So looking forward to that. The first game of today's episode could be a bit of a litmus test if we are going to make our way up to the top tier for next season. It's a game I am not expecting to win at all. In the second round of the DFB Pokal, we are taking on the one and only Bayern Munich. In the first round, we did beat a team who are not in a league. This is going to be a lot tougher. These guys come into this one off the back of 4 wins in their last 5 games. 2 of those came in the Champions League, and 2 of those did come in the Bundesliga. They did lose to Hertha Berlin away from home, but otherwise some good results, including last time out, a 2-1 win in Leipzig against Red Bull. But this is a game, obviously, we are not expected to win, even though they do have a couple of injury concerns going into this one, but it is a very strong team. They've got the likes of Garnacho, Musiala, De Ligt and Kimmich in the midfield, plus Cancelo and Upamecano at the back. So despite the fact they are missing players like Goretzka and Alphonso Davies, still a very strong team. We also are dealing with an injury going in to today's episode, albeit not to one of our first choice players. Yuri Bass is out for the next 2 to 3 weeks with a sports hernia, so that means he won't feature in either of these games. In today's episode, also, for the first time in quite a while, I think in fact this season, we are playing 3 games inside of a week. This one coming only a few days off the back of that 3-0 win over Karlsruhe. And then we take on Heidenheim only a few days off the back of this Bayern Munich game, so it's going to be interesting to see how our team does cope with the Gegenpress with a condensed match schedule, not something we've had to deal with so far with this tactic, but at the moment it's doing a very good job for us here at Lokomotive Leipzig. But it's time to see how we get on against the best team in Germany in the second round of the DFB Pokal. We're travelling to take on Bayern Munich. And here are the team sheets for the second round of the DFB Pokal. They are Bayern Munich. They are playing a 4-2-2-2, so it's quite a narrow formation. Obviously, a very strong team, even with those injuries. We've made a few changes just because I want to keep some players on a heavy workload fresh for that Heidenheim game, fully expecting to lose this one. So Chaiwa and Warrington start in the midfield. Also Gaima at left back in place of Dorenzo, wanting to keep our left back fresh, especially with that injury to Yuri Bas. But we get things underway here. No highlights so far, but just as I say that, inside the first 4 minutes, we do have a goal kick here in our favour, and actually progress the ball fairly nicely. A nice ball forward there to Krasnicki. Can he square that? For that would have been Salue up front. Unfortunately, didn't pick out that option. And now Bayern Munich clear that one and do get the ball down the other end. Vidovic, a good striker, plays that one over the top. For Evan Nielsen, takes a touch to get that one around Titus Krapakas. And from having a really good chance down the other end, if Krasnicki had have squared that one for Salue, Bayern hit us on the counter-attack, and Evan Nielsen gives them an early 1-0 lead. And this could be a long day at the office. Bit of a heart wrench of that one, because it felt like a good chance for us there to grab a goal. But just like that, down the other end, Bayern Munich make it 1-0 in their favour. And only a few minutes off the back of that opening goal now, it's a corner here to Bayern Munich, going far post again there for Evan Nielsen. And thankfully, we clear that one off the line before they can bundle that one over. But obviously on the back foot early as expected. And thankfully, only down by 1 goal. But we do have a goal kick here. Again, we're going to try and play our way out from the back. It worked reasonably well before. Hopefully this time we actually do something and get a decent shot on target. Unfortunately though, we give the ball away, albeit good work there from Salue, but can't quite keep it. Slide tackle in there from Bayern Munich. And again, they look for Evan Nielsen up front. Thankfully this time it is Tom Gale who wins that one in the air. Now Tilgan plays it all the way back to the club captain. Now those villain midfielders do link up there, and we go forward yet again here this time through Campanelli down that right-hand side. Daniel Cueto with a chance, but unfortunately it's a weak shot there trying to beat Costa at his near post, and we remain 1-0 behind. And just making our way into the last 10 minutes of this first half, well and truly still on the back foot in this game as you would expect, but doing quite well here to keep it at 1-0, and we are on the attack here just before half-time, although we do have a few yellow cards, which is something we might have to deal with at half-time, to both Gaima and Krasnicki, and that is a handball there from Upamecano, and a chance for us here to equalise things from the penalty spot. Krasnicki did miss a penalty in a recent league game, but thankfully tucks that one away past Costa and goal. He grabs his 5th of the season, and we're right back in this one. 8 minutes shy of half-time, we do make it 1-1, and based on the highlights I've seen, does actually feel like we might deserve something out of this game so far, certainly looking threatening when we are on the attack. 1-1, 5 minutes shy of half-time. And in fact, just as I was about to wrap things up, we now go down the other end here for a throw into Bayern, looking to strike immediately back after conceding an equaliser from the penalty spot. Thanks to Upamecano, they make some headway down that right-hand side. Deflected shot falls back there to Evan Nielsen. Now De Ligt tries to curve that one top right corner. Not far off, thankfully. It comes off the post, and it does look like we are going to somehow go into the sheds locked up at 1-1, albeit still 2 minutes here of added time to get played. But that was a pretty good first half performance, certainly. Not as many shots as Bayern Munich, but in terms of the rest of the stats, actually fairly even here with the best team in Germany. XG not too bad either. We are going to make a few changes though at halftime, with a few players on yellow cards and also some others on poor ratings. Dorenzo will come on for Gaima at left back, and also Davida for the goal scorer in Krasnicki. And as well as that, Baker Boateng and Clige can come on for a Tilgan and Salue, both only going okay so far. We'll keep the players fresh, obviously, with this one being in the middle of a bit of a storm week, but that wasn't the worst first half away from home against a team like Bayern Munich. We'll give the guys some encouragement at half-time and see if we can maybe keep this one close in the second half. We'll get things back underway, locked up at 1-1. And in fact, we have a highlight here immediately from the restart. Off the back of making those 4 subs at halftime, it does mean not many more left for the second half. We play a ball forward there towards Baker Boateng, but unfortunately he tries to flick that one on into the path of none of our players. Now Bayern get an early chance here to do something on the attack. Lovely short passing. Musiala puts that one over for Evan Nielsen. Good early chance, thankfully, just blazes that one wide, and we cling on to a 1-1 scoreline. And 10 minutes into the second half, unfortunately, Omar Collier has now picked up a yellow card, so our last substitution will be used to deal with that one. Lucas Search will come on for him, but we are still somewhat in this 1-1 with 35 minutes left. And we are now inside the last half hour of the second round cup tie. It's a corner here to Bayern Munich. They float that one into the mixer. For some reason, Krapikas doesn't come out to claim that, and Bayern Munich here have the ball right on the edge of the box. It was Francis there with a shot. Thankfully, that one just kisses the crossbar and somehow still locked up here at 1-1, albeit another corner here for Bayern Munich. Bidovic at the far post. His first shot, I think, came off the post or was saved, and then a second gets cleared off the line, so a big chance there for Bayern Munich. And yet again, we are in danger from a set piece. Thankfully, this time, Tom Gale will head that one away, and we deal with that danger, making our way into the last 20 minutes, albeit now it's a free kick here to Bayern. Bidovic gets his head on the end of that one, just goes over the bar. Matthias Tell comes off the bench, a player we're quite familiar with from taking on Bayern Munich 2 in the Free Liga a couple of seasons ago. And then a chance there for Lucas Search. That one comes off the post, and somehow Bayern Munich are able to scramble that one away, and we nearly take a lead in the second round of the DFB Pokal, and immediately off the back of that, we are now down the other end here for a Bayern free kick, albeit good work there from Lorenzo. Now a big overlap here. Cueto plays that one forward towards Clige. Good slide tackle from De Ligt, but it evades Costa, and Clige will tuck that one home, and we are leading at Bayern Munich in the second round of the DFB Pokal. And with only 15 minutes left, there's a slight chance of us here holding on for what would be a massive upset. De Ligt there made the tackle, but it just goes away from Costa. A bit slow there is the Bayern goalkeeper, and Clige off the bench will grab what could be a massive goal and makes it 2-1 in our favour. Just as I was thinking about time wasting a little bit early, there is though a free kick here to Bayern Munich. No doubt it might not take them long to try and grab an equaliser. Thankfully though, Gale deals with that danger at the back. Search plays that one back to Krapikas. If we can hang on here, this would be a big result, albeit I do fear this one might now be going to extra time. Now Baker Boerty is in behind there, had a brief chance to square that one for Clige, blast that one over the bar. Definitely time for us now to start thinking about time wasting off the back of taking a 2-1 lead with 15 minutes left. And we are now inside the last 10 minutes of the second round of the DFB Pokal, still up by 2-1. This will be a massive upset, and obviously we are now going to start time wasting as we have been for the last couple of minutes, but we'll see if Bayern Munich do strike inside these last 10 minutes. Also, we'll adjust some opposition instructions, albeit I think they're mostly good at been playing with these throughout the game to make sure that we can hopefully keep Bayern Munich under wraps during these last 10 minutes. And we'll see if we can hang on here for what would be a massive win in the second round of the DFB Pokal. As we get the action back underway, as you can see, Bayern Munich have definitely had the better of things based on stats, but we haven't actually been too bad in attack ourselves. Our XG actually quite high compared to theirs. Our chances obviously helped with that penalty in the first half, but we're inside the last minute of this game. Chaiwa picks up a yellow card, but that is a huge upset. We are still unbeaten this season. We beat Bayern Munich at their house by 2-1. Was it an absolute fluke? You betcha, but still, that is a very good defensive performance. We definitely had to scramble off the line at times, and thankfully came from 1-0 down early and kept Bayern Munich scoreless off the back of that. That penalty late in the first half certainly helped, and then a bit of a fortunate goal there to Clige. The assist goes to Cueto. Probably could go to Matthias De Ligt, but that is a huge result. We beat the best team in Germany by 2-1. There's a feather in our cap over Ange Postecoglou and RB Leipzig. Now we're going to have a draw for the third round of the DFB Pokal, which I wasn't expecting, but that is definitely the result of the save so far. Might even be the result of my time playing Football Manager. We beat Bayern Munich with little old Lokomotive Leipzig in the second round of the Cup. So what a start to today's episode. A huge upset win there over Bayern Munich. So maybe this unbeaten run that we do have to start this season can go on for a little bit longer. I'm very happy as well that that game didn't get taken to extra time. It does mean our players a little bit fresher than they might have otherwise been for this next game in the league, where we do take on Heidenheim. Before we preview that one, a quick look at who we are playing in the third round of the DFB Pokal, our first game coming back from the winter break, which should be early next week. It is another team from the Bundesliga, but nowhere near as big as Bayern Munich. We're going to be taking on Mainz in our first game back, as I said, from the winter break. In that third round, they got a couple of decent players on their books in the likes of Fabio Carvalho, but to be fair, that team is nowhere near as strong as that team that we did just beat, even though no doubt they did rotate a few players out of their team who usually would be starting for Bayern Munich, but that does feel quite winnable off the back of beating the best team in Germany. Hopefully, when we come back from the winter break this time, we can come back in a good patch of form, unlike what we came back with last season, where our form went to absolute toilet. But we are going to play our next game in this season and hopefully continue this unbeaten run that we have got going. This one should be really academic off the back of a win over Bayern Munich. We take on Heidenheim, these guys down in 6th. They're a team with a pretty good record against so far in this save, and a team who actually are predicted to finish below us in the season preview, so that's not often the case for us here at Lokomotive Leipzig, and they come into this one having been knocked out of the cup by Eintracht Braunschweig. So based on form at the moment, you'd like to think this is a game we can pick up a fairly comfortable result in, albeit one more injury we're going to have to deal with in the second game of today's episode. Thibaut Clichy, our bench striker, is out with a twisted knee off the back of scoring that winner against Bayern Munich. He's out for 5 to 8 days. It does mean this should be the only game that he misses, as well as maybe one more in the league, but that's our only extra injury concern. It does mean Danny Lewell will come onto the bench in his place up from the second team, but hopefully we can back up that win over Bayern and keep a good gap on top of the table as we host Heidenheim in the 2 Bundesliga. And here are the team sheets for the second game of today's episode. We're actually stronger in terms of our starting 11 for this game, with Lorenzo, Bullock and Kachala coming back into that starting lineup. And hopefully we can pick up a good result here against Heidenheim with their 5 at the back and maybe extend that gap on top of the 2 Bundesliga table. And just like in the Bayern game, there's a very early highlight in this one, albeit this one might be in our favour. Campanelli on the attack. Krasnicki, they try and play a 1-2, but unfortunately Heidenheim do get in the way, but we get it back here through Kachala. He picks out Campanelli, doing a brilliant job at right back, and now it is Cueto who squares that one. Looked like it might be for Salui. Might have been a penalty there if it wasn't put away from a Tilgan, but thankfully the ball runs through to him. He tucks it away, and that gives us a early 1-0 lead, something which could cost us in this game. Might be player fitness, our third game in a week, but if we can score goals nice and early, that might not be a factor. And so far it's going to plan. We take a very early 1-0 lead. And just shy of the 10-minute mark, we'll get the next highlight in this game. Yet again, we are on the attack Campden side of the Heidenheim half. Campanelli there started to make his way inside the box. Unfortunately, lose touch, albeit Heidenheim can only clear it as far as our defence, and now it's played through to Osman Tilgan. He's tries to get a shot off there from a tight angle, comes off the post. Louis will poke that one home from the rebound. Not too sure though if he was onside when the ball was played through as well as the shot was taken, but as it turns out, he was onside from that Cueto ball, and the shot from a Tilgan, albeit must have been a very close run thing, and things are definitely going to plan in this third game inside a week. 2 goals inside the first 10 minutes to give us a 2-0 lead. And up to the half-hour mark now, it's a corner here in our favour. Osman Tilgan puts this one into the mixer. Unfortunately, we can't pick anyone out, but we put good pressure there on the edge of the box and get that one back. I think that was through Cueto. Now Tilgan plays that one out to Campanelli down that right-hand side, squares that one nicely for Albin Krasnicki. He bangs it away. 3-0 at the half-hour mark, and now this is a great chance for us to rest some players during the second half. Just what we want off the back of that big result in the first game of today's episode. Yet again, we are beating a team wearing red, albeit this time we are the team well and truly on the front foot, both in terms of scoreline and stats, and this should really be all over Red Rover. 3-0 just past the half-hour mark. And that was it for the first half in this 2 Bundesliga game in today's episode, and as you can tell by the stats, that was absolute dominance in the first half, 3 goals to none, and they've had no shots at all in this game, so that is a near perfect first half. It also allows us to rest some players who did come into this game under somewhat of a high injury chance. So we're going to make some subs at halftime because of that. We're going to take off Lorenzo for Geimer, and also we're going to bring on Kim for Cueto in that attacking midfield role. But very happy with how we're going so far. Obviously, going to make a few more changes in the second half when some of these players get a bit more tired. But we should have 3 points wrapped up here and hopefully can extend our gap on top of the table, get things back underway with that 3-0 lead. And a couple of minutes into the second half, there's an early free kick here for Heidenheim trying to make their way back into this game, but thankfully Collie wins that one at the back for us. Now Campanelli starts to drive forward inside the opposition half, and Kim plays a nice ball forward there to Salue. Good chance early, but unfortunately the shot's a little bit weak, and it remains 3-0. And just coming up towards the hour mark, it is here a throw-in inside the final third for Heidenheim. Thankfully, Gale clears that one before it can find one of their players, albeit they do get it back here, and it's a nice ball played over there for Arnold towards that far post, and Schnopper gets a good header off there to loop over Krapakas and goal, and they do grab a goal back with a half hour left. If they can grab one more at short notice, this might be game on, especially if our players do start to tie, but that's a really nice ball that from Arnold with the outside of his foot, and a good looping header as well from Schopner, and they make it 3-1 just shy of the hour mark, albeit now we go down the other end and have a corner of our own. Tilgan puts this one near post for Tom Gale. It's saved by their goalkeeper Salue, pokes it home, but I do fear he might have been offside this time, unlike in the first half. We'll just wait and see if we do make it a 3-goal lead immediately off the back of getting pegged back, and in fact he was onside, so that 2-goal lead did not last long. It goes back out to 3. It's a fortunate goal, but Salui tucks it away and makes it 4-1 just past the hour mark, and while we're here we might check some player fitness, and Tom Gale is down to a red heart. Lukasevich can come on for him, still with a 3-goal lead, but these days 4-1 on the scoreboard. And just about to make our way into the last 20 minutes of this game, and a couple of our players have just picked up yellow cards in this one, so I do think that's going to be our last 2 substitutions as we do enter the last few minutes of this game. Mikhail Chiba can come on for Racine Bullock, obviously in that boarding midfield role. That position does pick up yellow cards regularly, and also Omar Collie at the back is on a yellow card. This one might be a little bit more interesting with limited centre-back options, albeit Chiba could go back to centre-back, and we could put Warrington in that boring midfielder role, which I think is the best idea with these limited options that we do have available. So I think that's going to be our last substitution. Warrington will come on for Collie, and Chiwa can go back to centre-back for these last 20 minutes, and hopefully we can hold on to our 3-goal lead and pick up 3 more points in the 2 Bundesliga. And very short off the back of those last couple of substitutions in the 69th minute, it is here a corner to Heidenheim. They put this one into the mix, so thankfully we get to that before Engelmann can, but now being there with a shot, thankfully from a tight angle. Krapakas does make a save, surprised where he had to. I thought that one might have gone on the post or into the side netting, so it's another chance here for Heidenheim from a set piece. It is their Chiwa who heads that one away and does win the race to that ball. Can we do something on the counter-attack? No, but now we are down the other end trying to put a ball into the mix, so unfortunately that one's deflected and falls straight into the Heidenheim goalkeeper's hands. He pumps this one deep. Bean, good header on there for Fury, and it goes back here to Arnold, who played that nice ball in the first half. Thankfully, a good save there from Krapakas on that chance to Bean, so a couple of good chances there for Heidenheim, but we keep it at 4-1. And just making our way into the last couple of minutes of the second game of today's episode, it's pretty much been over since the half-hour mark when we did take that 3-0 lead. 4 minutes of added time. It is a throw-in here in our favour as well. Gaima puts that one in, and it is now played into the mix, albeit Morrison will win that one there on a yellow card, and it is actually a chance here for Heidenheim to do something, but it's probably a case of too little too late with a 3-goal advantage. Bean, though, is on the edge of the box. Search does run him outside of that, but they are still on the attack here. Engelmann back there to Kwashi, and it's actually not a bad shot there. Goes over the bar, and it does remain 4-1, albeit it looks like we're going to have a bit of a pointless highlight here at the end of this game, but going exactly to how I was hoping things would in this game. Didn't have to worry about player fitness too much off the back of taking a 2-0 lead inside those first 10 minutes, and then we made it 3-0 on the half-hour mark. Grabbed one in the second half off the back of Heidenheim getting one back as well, so things have gone very much to plan in this game, and we'll see that will extend our gap on top of the 2 Bundesliga table. We are on the attack here, but it won't make too much difference with only 1 minute left, and still with a 3-goal buffer. Good effort there from Warrington, but a good save there from the Heidenheim goalkeeper looking for that bottom right corner. And now pump this one deep, and Fury wins that one in the air. Arnold, who did get a pretty good assist for that goal that Heidenheim did score. He is on the ball here down this left-hand side, plays that one into the mix. If Fury wins that one in the air, does Nacho, he grabs his first goal of the season, albeit it is very much a consolation effort. It closes the gap back up to 2 goals, and I dare say that might be how this one finishes. Arnold will grab 2 assists, quite a good game from him, even in a losing effort. Chaiwa there losing out on a header, probably thanks to the size difference. Not a player usually we would put at centre back, but they grab a goal back late to Heidenheim. But thankfully, we did win the first half 3-0, so even though we lose the second by 1-2, we still pick up a 4-2 result. As I said, blew them away in that first half hour, and from there, never really in any doubt. And thankfully, we are still unbeaten this season off the back of a 4-2 win at home over Heidenheim. So 2 very good results in today's episode, especially obviously that first one, picking up a win over Bayern Munich away from home in the second round of the DFB Pokal. Unfortunately, Fortuna Düsseldorf did pick up a win on that same match day as we did beat Heidenheim, so it does mean our gap on top of the table does stay at 5 points, but we are still 8 points clear of the teams in 3rd and 4th spots, so definitely opening up a gap on those teams currently in the promotion playoff hunt. Hopefully that remains the case, and we might get automatically promoted up to the Bundesliga come the end of the season. And that doesn't look quite so scary now, having beaten Bayern Munich, albeit no doubt things will be tougher when we play teams of that quality a bit more regularly once we do eventually make our way up to the top division. But that will do it for today's episode. Still somehow unbeaten off the back of that shock win over Bayern in the Cup, and also 4-2 over Heidenheim in the 2 Bundesliga. If you did enjoy today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. We'll come back at the start of next week. I think we'll do one more episode before we do enter the winter break. Actually, our next game is quite a big one against Fortuna Düsseldorf, but we might come back a little bit closer to the winter break and see if we can go into that undefeated. We'll take on 2 teams who did come down from the Bundesliga at the end of last season. We'll take on Nuremberg away and Jan Regensburg at home, and hopefully be able to make our way into that winter break undefeated, provided we can get the job done over 1860 Munich off the back of that. So until the start of next week for that double against the Bergs either side of the start of December, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Thought I could do this, live through the sadness. Don't know how I ended up so lost. Sink through the deep end.